to college hoops. Big 12, Cincinnati is in the Big 12. I know it's was a bit jarring for some people. Strong Big 12 team. They had 2 losses coming into this thing like us, or we had 3. They had 2 losses coming into this thing. We go to their home court. Wasn't pretty, but Disu played his strongest and most efficient game. And ultimately A. Smith get the game-winning shot, and we won.
Yeah,
and
I like it's a bit of an understatement. I mean, he scored 33 points in this game. Dylan Disu.
Oh my God, he was
high.
Yeah, he's look, the thing on Dylan Disu and the thing on the Texas Longhorns basketball team, we said in our last show, there's so much that has to, like, from a continuity standpoint, Mitchell's role, even the guys that have returned, Mitchell's role is increased. Hunter's role has changed. You bring in a guy like A. Smith who has to get acclimated from playing at a small school where he is the absolute focal point of the offense, and Oral Roberts, right, to coming here and playing more team basketball. You have guys like Horton, Weaver, Onyema, they're all transfers. Even like Shedrick is he comes from Virginia. It's a great basketball program, but he's a transfer. Disu, who was our best player at the end of last year and is our best player right now, is proven yesterday. He has been working his way back from injury. He's only played 6 games. He only played half of our games, right? This is the 7th game yesterday. So there's so much that has to happen. And like, look, would we go into Kansas and we didn't and beat Bill Self at home? No, we didn't go to Baylor either and beat them on their home court. But Cincinnati ain't no slouch. I think it's a really nice, strong win. And all these Big 12 wins, it's a great bounce back win after losing the home opener in the Big 12 to Texas Tech. It's exactly what we asked for. We have to take care of business on these next 3 games, and that's step 1. Yeah. A win's a win in my book, and they're a solid basketball team.
And winning on the road is never easy. College, pros, whatever, any way you slice it, it's tough to win when you're not playing on your home court. And I think your point about Disu being our best player is it's really important to me, at least, because you looked at last season and you could have said, because Disu missed time last season too, right? And at times we were saying that we were trying to figure out who our best player was a lot of last year, who was going to get the ball at the very end of the game. And in games, early in the season, it was Marcus Carr, and then it was Timmy Allen at times. And Hunter obviously had a really, really strong showing in the NCAA tournament. But in the last month and a half of basketball that the Texas Longhorns played last year, Disu became our best player. And I think a game like last night is really important for his confidence going forward, and for the team to understand as they're fitting into roles, okay, who is our go-to guy, right? And 30 plus points in college is no easy feat. That is a big deal. And so we just need to kind of acknowledge that going forward. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is a huge year for Dylan Disu, because this is not a guy that was being mocked in NBA drafts whatsoever. So this is an opportunity for him to jump up on boards. No, just realistically.
No, I know. It's like this draft class isn't that strong, or that strong on paper. There's a lot of fluidity, and Toss, I'm sure you look at it as much as I do. Like, there's a different guy being mocked every day at number 1. Like, there's so much fluidity in this NBA draft class. I'm not saying Dylan Disu is going to be the first overall pick, but right.
What a world.
But there's a world where he can work his way. If he's like really strong the rest of the season, we make the postseason
first.
Yeah, he get in the late first. He's athletic. Yeah. He went 4 of 10 as a big man from 3. He's showing he has that outside shot.
He's a good free throw shooter too, which helps a lot. Just for anyone listening that doesn't pay a lot of attention to NBA mock drafts, Zach Edey, who is quote unquote the best player in college basketball, he was given the Naismith Award last year, is mocked at the 56th spot in the NBA draft, so late in the 2nd round. So that just goes to show there's not always a direct correlation to college production to NBA production.
His style of play doesn't translate to the NBA. Right. I mean, he's just a big guy that bullies 18-year-old kids. you can't do that. You can't do that in the NBA.
No. But, sounds like Toss at LA Fitness.
Yeah, totally. Bullying kids. But with Disu, I mean, I think he's been challenged a lot in his career with injuries, and finally taking a step to get healthy. And it's been great that he's been adding other elements to his game. The 3-ball wasn't necessarily something that we had been looking at when he came in from Vanderbilt. The biggest thing that we were always looking for was that he was the leader in rebounds in the ICC, and that kind of fell off a little bit when he had his injuries. Mm-hmm. But he's starting to work his way into just an all-around good player. He can do it all, and that's super valuable, especially at this level when you need a guy who can go out there and dominate with size. So this just shows you the value in staying sometimes. And yes, I know that he was never really going to be drafted because of the injuries and just because of the productivity, but doesn't matter how everyone develops at different speeds and different,
bro.
Different trajectories. And I think there's just this weird like mentality in college hoops in the NBA where it's like, all right, 18 years old, 19 years old, like this is my shot. You got to go right away. And like as young men, you develop to you're like 25 years old. So there could totally be late bloomers out there. And I don't know why the NBA is the only sport that sees it that way, because there's guys, that decide to not go the MLB draft out of high school that probably could get drafted, and they go to college instead to develop their talent for 3 years. Obviously in NFL, you have to go for at least 3 years.
Yeah.
But NBA is the only one that's like, all right, 18 years old. And I get that you can kind of see raw, skill right off the bat when, they're 14, 16 years old, with their basketball IQ and their handles and their shooting ability. But as a sport that is so athletically driven and, like how high you can jump and how tall you are and how strong you are, like it doesn't make a ton of sense, So I'm glad that Mitchell stayed.
Roster.
Yeah,
I would say that's why like the roster's like short in the NBA. Like you only have 15 spots compared to the 53 in the NFL. Like, so it's a bit tougher for guys to get in there and hang on. But I'm with you. Like the leash is a lot shorter in the NBA. You have a lot like less chances to get it right in the NBA because they'll send you to the G League. You get booted to overseas. Like there's there's so much competition in the NBA to like for guys to stick on the roster. Yeah. So
it's funny you say booted overseas. It's like you're still getting paid like
and those FIBA those Euros look sweet, dude.
Go play in Greece. Oh no.
Yeah, exactly. That atmosphere, a little tzatziki.
I gotta live in Mykonos and play basketball for money.
Horrible. It's a very glass half full way to look at it. I love that. What I will say on the last bit on Texas hoops defensively, and just maybe from like a on the court feel, I would love to see Rodney Terry work the lineup where it's Shedrick, Disu, Mitchell. We're playing bigger at the forwards and center spot, and then we have Hunter and Asmus. Asmus is a really strong offensive player. I think having Disu out there is going to take and alleviate a lot of the load that he's been carrying offensively, but he's not the defensive stalwart that Marcus Carr was. And, I think we've lost a little bit of that, but having some length out there with Disu, Shedrick, and Mitchell, who's really, you talk about guy coming back and growing his game. Like I would love to see Rodney Terry work that rotation in. I think that'd be pretty beneficial. And I'd love to see people ease up on Rodney Terry. Like, I don't know. I tell you guys all the time, I'm in a group text where he gets so much flack, and it's like, I don't know what people, and first of all, I don't know what people thought we were going to do after he won the Big 12 tourney and went to the Elite Eight. Like who are we going to bring in? It's not like Calipari and Coach K were waltzing through the door. Like this isn't La La Land, or Mark Few or Scott Drew are leaving the programs where they're kicking ass. And he proved to take over the program, and he's honestly recruited really well for the 2024 recruiting class. Like we've spoken about, we have Trey Johnson. Right. We have two other guys, and according to 24/7 Sports, they're in the top 40. Like he's a pretty good recruiter, and he's brought in some good guys in the transfer portal. So I would love to see him shake up the lineup a little bit now that Disu's healthy, and maybe work Brock Cunningham back to the bench.
It's tough. I'm just thinking about our rosters. You'd like to have Asmus and Hunter out there, but you just give up a lot of size.
That's why I was trying to throw out.
Yeah, and it's tough because Carr had good size, right, for a guard, and we don't really have as good of a shooter as Asmus is. He's in a point guard's body. We don't have like a Jordan Hawkins type like UConn had last year, where we have a 6'5", 6'6" guy that can go out there, stretch the floor with his shooting ability. We have, we can run that big lineup like you're talking about with Shedrick and Disu and Mitchell, which I think presents a lot of challenges defensively for any team that we're playing in their half court offense. They're going to struggle, but they're going to attack our guards every single play. And we're just going to, that's the one thing with Brock, is that he's shown that he can shoot that spot up three decently well. And obviously like he's going to give full effort on the defensive side. He helps out with the rebounding load. He's just one of those guys where talent wise, sure, he's not the same as some of the other, elite college basketball players, but effort level between the ears, he knows where to be on the court, and you never have to question whether or not he's going to dive on the ground for a loose ball. He's just going to be on the court. Like that's just the fact of the matter. But I'm interested to see if our rotation gets a little bit bigger through the next few games. We only played 8 guys in this game.
Yeah, it was a short bench.
And so, we have to do what we have to do to win games. But on the opposite side, Cincinnati played, I think, 10 or 11 guys. So they're still trying things out. Maybe that's just confidence in Rodney Terry knowing what the rotation is that he needs for conference play and going past that. In which case, that's a coach who's doing exactly what he needs to do. And Josh, you can tell the haters to just stuff it,
buzz off.
Yeah. But
he's gonna hit.
It'll be interesting. Who's our next game on the schedule for Horns Hoops?
Sorry, let me pull that up for you. I think the next slate of games, Saturday evening, we're at West Virginia, who they're on the down. We have next Wednesday UCF at home before the following Saturday, in which we have the Baylor Bears. I hate them. Why do we always have Baylor like on a Saturday morning in January? Like I feel like I'm in like a bizarro world where that like it's Groundhog's Day and it happens every year.
Not gonna happen next year.
No, it won't. But Baylor, we have to win those games because Baylor's got some. Do you want to talk about pros? Misi and Walter, Misi the big man and Walter the guard are
Mr. Misi is on their team. It's crazy.
Evis Misi, he's the big man. He's a pretty potent prospect, and Jacoby Walter is pretty dynamite. Like similar, to he's a really good scoring guard and he's a really good offensive guard like Keontae George was, and he was a handful for us last year and even have his best game. So it's gonna be a big matchup against Baylor. Luckily, we have them at home to start.
Yep. I like that. I think this Saturday morning, that game, Hook 'em Horns, we want to feel like, one of the big blue blood basketball programs. And you think about Duke, UNC, and you think about the fans sleeping overnight in tents before they have to wake up for the next morning's game and then head to the arena, cheer their hoops team on and hopefully get a W. And that's what we'll be hoping for as well. We will see everybody tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. And if you think that the Horns will get the dub, go put your money at betonline.ag.
Yeah.
Use the promo code BELIEVE, BLAAV. Get 50% off your welcome bonus.
Thanks, BetOnline. Hook 'em Horns. See you, everybody.